Representative Barr.
I was efficient. This guy's.
Mr. Secretary, thanks for the great job you're doing. Some Democrats are making the laughable claim that Iran is stronger today than they were before Epic Fury started because of the disruption in the Strait of Hormuz. You've seen the Trump derangement syndrome in the hearing today. Can you set the record straight on whether or not Iran is stronger today?
Well, they have no Navy, they have no Air Force, they have no air defenses, they have they have massive destruction to the defense industrial base. They've lost a substantial percentage of their missile launchers and of their drone launchers as well. They're not benefiting from the straits being closed because the blockade is keeping them from hundreds of millions of dollars a day in revenue. They've had their ships seized in the Indo-Pacific. Their leadership is fractured. They have hyperinflation. Their currency is worthless, and they're having trouble making payroll. I guess other than that, they're doing well.
Thank you. Do you believe that keeping the credible threat of kinetic military force on the table and the president's willingness to use such force is important to your diplomatic leverage?
Yes, because unfortunately we are dealing with a group of people that don't understand anything but that.
And so the resolution that's on the floor in the U.S. House this week would do what to the U.S. leverage?
I don't think technically it does anything. I think perceptionally it allows the Iranians to believe that somehow they don't have to make a deal because there's no threat of something bad happening to them if they don't.
And just as a follow-up to my friend Congressman Schneider's line of questioning, can you describe the key differences between the terms of the deal that you all are negotiating with Iran today versus the terms of the JCPOA?
What we're discussing now is what the negotiations will be about. And it will be about no enrichment, what they're going to do with their enrichment, and what they're going to do with the highly enriched uranium being removed and being disposed of. That wasn't a part of JCPOA. The other thing is the JCPOA was time limited. In fact, the prohibition on certain enrichment would have been expiring this very year. This very year would have been expiring. So JCPOA right now would be expiring, and they would be able to be in a position to then ramp up and do whatever they wanted in compliance with the JCPOA. So there are major differences even in the text of what we're discussing the negotiations are going to be about. But ultimately, any deal we do will be a good deal or it won't be a deal. And it'll be better than JCPOA.
Absolutely, and I think that's a key point is that this idea that you could draw any analogy between what's happening now where the administration has totally obliterated the nuclear capabilities of Iran, plus their conventional capabilities. You're negotiating from a position of strength that the Obama and Biden administration was not negotiating from a position of strength at all, and provided upfront sanctions. We know what the result was. I want to shift to the Indo-Pacific real quick. As you know, the Taiwan Relations Act states that it is the policy of the United States to provide Taiwan with arms of a defensive character. Consistent with that policy, the Trump administration announced in December of 25 an $11 billion arms package for Taiwan, the largest ever, including HIMARS, howitzers, drones, Javelin anti-tank missiles. As a result, the Taiwan legislature passed a $25 billion special defense budget that included funding for an even bigger arms deal for air and missile defense totaling $14 billion, a deal that is not final, and a deal that is under review. As you know, one of the 6 assurances states that the U.S. will not consult with the PRC on arms sales to Taiwan. Now, you've heard this. Critics of the administration have alleged, the media has alleged, as a result of the Beijing summit, that President Trump's recent meetings with Chinese leader Xi in Beijing not only paused Taiwan arms sales, that's their term, paused arms sales, but also violated the assurance that the U.S. will not consult with the PRC directly. Can you clear the air on this?
First of all, the $11 million in December was the single largest arms sales ever to Taiwan. It was more than happened cumulatively under 4 years of President Biden. And in fact, I recall that for 6 years, President Obama offered zero to Taiwan during his presidency. So it was such a big deal, by the way, that the Chinese reacted to it with really hyper activity in terms of military exercises around Taiwan. We don't consult with the Chinese on these arms sales. We're aware of their position. They talk about it all the time, and I don't need to tell you, it wouldn't be breaking news that they're not in favor of these arms sales. They raise it, but they are not negotiated, and they're not consulted. That second deal, the $14 million one that's currently under review, and that would not be unusual for something of that magnitude.
So that's not a pause. That's not a pause. That's under review, and we've already done an $11 billion deal.
Just did one in December.
Right. So I think the mischaracterization of this as a pause doesn't reflect the administration's commitment that they've already made on the $11 billion deal. I yield back.
Yeah,